Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to another edition of our Klaus Retail Talk. By the way, it's the last retail talk we have in 2023. My name is Reichenauer. I'm the publisher of Across Magazine. And I'm very pleased that so many people across Europe are here today. Our today's topic are the winning formats. We will talk about outlets, retail parks, and food anchors. And we will try to find out why they are successful at the moment. As usual, the top-class discussion group is ready. Klaus Striebich, also as usual, will lead this discussion as an expert moderator and master of ceremonies. And yes, and you could and you should take part in the discussion by asking questions. And tomorrow, we will send a summary of this talk, including the video of this discussion via our newsletter, and we will also present the summary on our website. So that's all from my side at the beginning. I now hand over to Klaus Striebich. Yes, and Klaus, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Reinhard, and welcome to all of you outside at the screen at the desk. And very nice to have you with us today at our last session in 2023. And by the way, we have a kind of jubilee. It's 5th year in a row, meanwhile, that we have organized these Across Retail Talks as an ongoing successful format. Thanks for that, Reinhard, and thanks for your attendance all the time to listen and to give us feedback also for the future. The winning formats is our headline these days, and it's, I think, a very nice headline, even in times when we are faced lots of challenges and other problems. So the retail real estate industry, where we are all in, is faced with a huge number of challenges these days. We have changes in consumer behavior, we have exogenous shocks, economical expectations, which are very, very high. No doubt, for everyone, a going concern these days is not longer valid. And many things have to be changed, have adapted from other business, and there's a big need to learn, to research, and to develop something new, I suppose. Our crosstalks today will shed light on the winners and what they do right. And we have some of these winners with us, I can promise. We have noticed that outlet centers, retail parks, or food-anchored stores and locations showed an outstanding performance during the past years. If we compare that with other formats, there is a big difference. What are their principles? What are their positive ideas? What are they already doing right? And how are they prepared for the future? In addition, we see that the customer's environment is getting more and more complex and more difficult to handle for us. Lots and different crises, we see recession, and this combined with infinite information and media due to transparency and availabilities, so social media everywhere, is that an opportunity or a threat? All these questions and all these topics should be discussed with this fantastic panel round, and I'm very pleased to have you all with us. And let's introduce them. And I will start with Romina, if you may allow. Romina Jenei from Regio. Hello, Romina, nice to have you with us. And let's give us a little insight who you are and what you're doing.
Hello, Klaus. Hello, Reinhard. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, for all of you who do not know me, my name is Romina Jenei. I'm the CEO of Regio Consulting, and we are a location and market analyst based in Vienna, Austria, but we do our analysis all over Europe. This what we do is always from the view of the customer. So we're not regarding the real estate only from a financial or economic point of view, but always from what does the customer want and why does the real retailer, the real estate work out, succeed or not. We have our sister company, Regio Data Research, which might be known to some of you, who produces microeconomic data all over Europe about the purchasing power, the online retailers, and they have, for example, a dashboard of all the shopping centers in Europe with most important data. And all these information which we have in-house, we use for our analysis. For example, we work for developers, for landlords, regarding retail concepts, retail mix, but also market due diligence for financiers or risk managers. So we have a broad spectrum, and the key is that I'm here today to look at everything from the customer point of view. What is really going on in the customer's mind and what do they want?
Thanks very much. And it is very, very important having you with us, because the customer should be the basis all the time for our business, what we are doing. And let's figure out what will be the key facts. Super, and thanks for being with us. Angelus, to start with an A, you are for the second time with us, if I suppose, and you are representing one of these winners. Please introduce yourself a little bit. You have to be unmuted.
Klaus, thank you very much for handing over. And good news is, when you recognize that you have to unmute yourself, you see that physical footfall is back on track in that sense, because we're all not so used to it anymore. So thank you for hanging over. Thank you for having us today. My name is Angelus Bernreuther. I'm head of investor relationship management with Kaufland. Kaufland runs more than 1,500 big supermarkets in Europe, with a strong focus on Germany and 7 CE countries. So we oversee also, let's say, the mature markets and the upcoming markets in those stands. Our sweet spot is from 2,500 square meters up. We see ourselves in that case of footfall anchors for all types of locations, and that's also perhaps one thing why we see food also at one of the winning formats in that sense. And happy to discuss the details today with you. Thank you.
Super, and it's not surprising that your format, the hypermarkets, are somewhat successful, and you will give us more details or secrets, maybe, on why it's the case. Also, Thomas Reichenauer is for the third time, if I'm right, with us, or more. So he's a very well-experienced partner in our retail talks. Thomas, nice to have you with us again. And please give a little insight about ROS.
Yeah, thanks, Klaus. Thanks to the whole audience for having me. Yeah, very happy that we are all here invited for being one of these winning formats. I hope we keep these winning formats also for the future, because, you know, we all understand that, especially in the retail industry, there is not always a way up, so there are ways up and down. And I also would appreciate if we have today in the discussion also some feedback from the audience about, you know, learnings of other industries, of other, you know, retail formats, what we also can use for us in the future to improve our business further on. For myself, or my person, my name is Thomas Reichenauer. I'm one of the co-founders and managing directors of ROS, Retail Outlet Shopping. We're a pure outlet service provider. The company was founded in 2011 with my partner Gerhard Graf and myself. We have worked before already in the outlets industry for more than 20 years, and we are at the moment running 12 premium or designer outlet centers all over Europe. So we are pan-European, from Portugal to Poland, or from Belgium down to Croatia or Italy. We, as I mentioned before, we are independent. We're not just, you know, together with one fund. So we're working for different investors like DWS from Deutsche Bank, or Inca, or others, or private investors. And what we have is maybe compared to others in the business like McArthur Glen, Nineware, Via, Value Retail, a more tailor-made approach, a more local approach maybe. But on the other hand, it's very clear that we are, you know, very customer centricity is one of the most important topics for us. And we're developing outlet centers from the scratch. What we do at the moment together in Krakow, also Kaufland is our partner nearby there. We'll talk about that later on. But we also do, you know, take over outlet centers, refurbish outlet centers, expand outlet centers. And I think outlet in itself is a format that everybody knows, but also here in this market, there is a lot of news and new trends of, you know, combining it with other retail formats, and that might be part of the discussion today.
Super. Sounds like a successful time for you, and I think I see you more smiling than crying, which you should explain later, maybe. Super. Thanks for that. And we have, for the very first time with us, Israel Casanova from Redevco. Israel, it's very nice having you with us. And please give us a little bit more details about you, your person, Redevco, and what you are responsible for.
Thank you. Thank you, Klaus. A pleasure to be here and participate in this panel with my colleagues today. My name is Israel Casanova. I am a managing director at the client and fund management team at Redevco. I'm responsible for some of the strategies we execute and manage in co-investment with other partners, in particular for the strategies related to retail parks, one of our investment focus at Redevco. Let me introduce Redevco in a few words. Redevco is an urban real estate specialist. We manage assets in cities across Europe, and by doing so, we strive to make cities better and healthier places to live. We have decades of experience and a strong track record in managing, developing, and transacting in urban real estate through the teams that we have in the eight different offices across Europe. Our investment themes are repurposing to mixed use by optimizing singular urban buildings and their uses, living by complementing sustainable and innovative building with relevant services and amenity to improve quality of life in the cities, leisure and hospitality by creating destinations that positively impact communities, and last but not least, retail parks by serving customers' daily needs while embedding these assets in their surroundings through densification and diversification. And as I said, well, happy to be here.
Super. That's a wide range of activities, to be honest. And thanks having you with us. I think that will be very helpful to figure out the real reason why there are things winning and others maybe trying to improve themselves. So let's get started with the view on us, the customers. I think that's the most important part, as Romina already mentioned. And what is your view of customers concerning the current retail offers, current location services, pricing, availabilities, etc., whatever is requested? And what kind of impact will this have on the success of existing retail real estate portfolios? So let's get started with the customer, Romina. I think you have a wide experience on that to analyze this. Would you try to give us a first answer?
Of course. I mean, the main topic which we have in this world currently is insecurity. So what the customer wants is kind of a security or a secure network. And there are some aspects which the winning formats also can provide in this aspect. So on the one hand, the customer gets more picky or more sensitive when choosing a location, more selective when it comes to location. So on the one hand, convenience is the key. So locations for local supply for daily needs, they need to be convenient. They need to be like combined with daily ways of the customers. Otherwise, they will drive by that. And the other aspect is concerning security and insecurity, that of course, we want formats which we know, formats where we can rely on and know what we can get there. For example, this is what outlet centers can offer. So you have the reduced prices there, for example. So this is something which is safe there. But on the other hand, so we have these two poles, like the local supply on the one side, and the other side is more the experience shopping. So where we have some emotions, where we have more entertaining aspects as well. And if you are not either on the one or the other side, it gets very hard to attract the customer.
Super. I see me personally on that, because that's the objectives I'm forcing on looking forward. Angelus, if you hear convenience, safety, security compared with experience, how could you manage that with Kaufland?
Perfect match, Klaus, in that sense. I think I would follow up what Romina said. Perhaps we should a bit differentiate between food-anchored store or daily needs and perhaps experience shopping, perhaps also in shopping centers and so on. The thing with us is I wouldn't call it facing uncertainties, Romina, I would perhaps say what our customer, we all in daily needs face is that we do our shopping very frequently. So in our case, perhaps twice or 3 times a week or even more. And on the other hand, it has to be simple because on that sense, by shopping daily goods, you don't want to waste time. That's the other thing of experience where I want to perhaps engage you, get more due time and so on. And with us, with Kaufland, that's the thing. Our concept, our large supermarkets are designed like this, that you have a rich choice of daily goods. Where we offer approximately 30,000 items per store. But you can have a, let's say, long run and a quick run through our hypermarkets in that sense, because you have to adapt to the time and the needs of your customers with your format. And I think when it comes up to experience at perhaps the lower level, we're not talking about shopping centers and so on. What we try is to implement a one-stop shopping, or as I say, an all-encompassing daily good shopping for our customers. Also, in addition to our hypermarkets, we always have small cafes, small bakeries, and then perhaps at the level of the district, at the level of the not the high street, but the district center and so on. We are one of the meeting points for our customers in everyday needs. And that's what we want to get positioned with our customers, because then they come frequently, they stay more longer, and of course they value the entire offer that we can give them in our supermarkets. So, well, experience, yes, at the one hand, and at the other hand, make it simple.
If I hand over this question to Thomas, I think there's a big difference in description, because in outlet centers, the people don't shop 2-3 times a week. It's a much wider difference, and I think experience is differently defined, isn't it, Thomas?
Yeah, but I just can underline what Romina said. You know, give a clear USP, give a very clear and simple message to the customer. Is in these times of uncertainty and high inflation rate, I think also one of the USPs from the outlet center. So it's very clear what can I expect. People normally come 3-4 times a year to an outlet center. Depends on the size of the center and how close you're living. But that is in principle. And I think what our advantage at the moment is that there's a very clear USP. It's many years. You get great brands on one location. So you have a lot of variety on brands, sport brands, designer brands, you know, more premium or in this or that direction. But at the end, it's very clear what the USP of the outlet center is. I have great brands on one location, a high quality environment with additional experience now for improved food and beverage offer is very important at the moment. Also the connections and becomes more and more important. But I think what we also need to understand is there's not one size fits all approach. So we need to be also tailor-made in the different countries and take, especially in the food and beverage offer, into account what are the needs of the customers in the different countries. But overall, a clear concept is something which helps not just us, but also if it's other brands, if it's other retail formats, to give the customer a good feeling in these times. And what plays in our cards at the moment, that's obvious, is the inflation rate. So a lot of people still want to have the brands they always have bought, but now think, okay, maybe I buy half of them normal price, but I intensify my visits to the outlet center because I get still the great brands, maybe not the most recent product, but for reduced prices. And I think this is at the moment one of the advantages of the outlet center. But to be very honest, we need also to be careful in the outlet industry to keep the high level and the quality in the outlet centers and really create and further bring the centers up to more premium, and not start now every location becomes an outlet center, just name it outlet and not deliver to the customer what is the promise of an outlet center. I think this might be one of the challenges for us in the future.
Super. I think there's a wide range of experienced definition from customers' view. And I learned in our preparation meeting that you may be located with an outlet close to a Kaufland and vice versa. Do you like this, let's say, combination from each other? If you can combine the needs from the customers at one site, does it make sense?
Yeah, maybe I'll answer directly what we have seen in the past, yeah, that in outlet had been developed, and then by occasion there was then the neighborhood developed. What happens now in the last couple of years, and we do this together with IKEA in the Algarve or in Croatia, or now also what we develop, and Kaufland is our neighbor or partner there in Krakow, that you do it by you create a scenario where you create an outlet center, nearby you have a retail park, which is a complete different offer, or you have a Kaufland or other offers like that you have for the overall customer. The whole agglomeration becomes much more interesting, and there is a benefit from cross visitation in that matter. And this is for us one of the strategic approaches which we have done in the last couple of years. We're very happy with our centers that we have already there, like in Zaragoza or in others where we have, and in Krakow. Kaufland is ready this year, as far as I know, but Angelus will know it better, and we will open there in spring 25. Yeah.
Israel, I saw you agreeing on that remark. So if you hear this simplicity, convenience, experience, and you are responsible for the European retail park activities of Redevco, what is your point? What is your point of view on that? How would you define this behavior from customer side? You are also unmuted.
Yeah, sorry for that. So yes, in general, I agree with all my colleagues in everything that they have said. I think at the end we are thinking about asset class that is offering convenience, choice, and value for money. That is basically retail parks. What I'm referring basically what retail parks are about. But with all these changes that we are living, we also have to provide some sort of experience and diversification. And I think clearly some of the ideas of maybe adding to the traditional retail mix other uses and other options to the customers is going in the right way. So we can see clearly F&B, food and beverage, being one of the activities that we can see almost in every retail park nowadays, but also health and wellness, education and leisure. And I think the future will bring also the optimization of other uses, like maybe living, why not, or even hospitality in those places. So I think I think one of the important ideas is to remain flexible, to adapt to all this complexity and changes.
But if I understood you right, it should be the case that you have many, let's say, usages next to each other to have a kind of, let's say, synergy amongst those. Means you have a retail park, you have an outlet center, you have a hospital, you have maybe a school, living areas all together. Does that make sense in the near future to have a combined, let's say, area, quarter, something like that? And then that you as an investor will jump on that preferably?
I think it was Angelus who mentioned that one stop for everything could be something that is also attracting to customers, and also to create that experience to shop in a very convenient way, because nowadays customers are very constrained in terms of timing. So that is something that I think will be something that we will see, especially in locations that are very much urban locations. So it's something that we believe in for the future of our retail parks.
So if we add to convenience, simplicity, experience, also time saving or time savers, that will be a kind of key for success.
Exactly, and let's not forget also the importance of sustainability and social responsibility in these assets as well. I think there's a great potential in this asset to also work in that way and to align with customers' values in that regard.
Super. come back. Romina, you will be the next for
Yes.
sure. I see you agreeing and you are ready for your remarks, because I would love to ask you as an analyst or researcher how you see this kind of, let's say, interacting between the formats.
What I wanted to add to what Israel's saying, these kind of combinations, these provide kind of a urbanity, like in a city, like they had in the US when they didn't have really city centers. They developed shopping malls actually to have a city center. So that is what we're now trying to do again, to mix all those functions which people need. And this is not only shopping, so shopping goes on the side actually. It's rather to do things like infrastructure. You have there like the kindergarten or the medical centers. And what we see in the consumer expenditures is also that these parts, which are not retail per se, but retail related, so like services for retail, or also gastronomy, of course, is to mention, but things you need to do in your daily life, which you cannot do online. These are the things you want to combine with other facilities. So shopping happens on the side, but you go pick up your kids from kindergarten, then you go to the doctor, and after that you maybe go to Kaufland and then buy some other things. So this is what we see in the expenditures, that expenditures are rising, especially for these retail related services, but also really I have to mention gastronomy still is growing very fast. And of course people want to go out and eat, but it's mainly the meeting points which they want. And these urbanity, all these mixtures which are provided, gives them meeting points and also gives them a nice, like, cozy atmosphere which you would like to have. And this is what you need to get the customers away from the couch, their sofas.
Yeah, super. Let's dig on that a little bit, because we would love to figure out the reason why people choose a special place, a special shopping mall, shopping location, or an anchored food anchored store. This looks a little bit different for me. Meanwhile, what are the real anchors, and what are the real drivers from your point of view for choosing a favorite shopping place? Let's stick on that a little bit. Angelus, would you love to start with that? What are the, let's say, 2-3 key drivers for choosing these special places we are discussing at the moment?
Yeah, but perhaps I want to add, but that goes in the same direction as Romina said. From our perspective, we're a food operator. So we operate in small towns, in middle towns, up to metropolis. We are in rural areas, we are in very urban areas. And the thing why people come to us is, and that's special about food retailing for sure, we all spend approximately half of our disposable income for food. Depends on the country, depends on the behavior. And that's where the footfall for those locations derives from, right? As I said, twice a week, 3 times a week, people come. So the smaller the town, our proposition is being the real footfall anchor, because it's not seldomly that in a 15 or 20,000 inhabitant town, we're one of the major players in that retail game, because there is no shopping center, there is no big retail park, and so on. At the other hand, and that comes back to your question, Klaus, the bigger the town, and perhaps also the bigger the competition, we as a food retailer, we always have to assure that we live from our real catchment area. That's for sure. But when it comes up to more synergies in retail parks, it's not only our synergies in terms of footfall, these are the synergies of the customers that they value. And that's definitely, Israel, also what you said. Synergies also derives from, you can be sure that when you go to such a successful, good ambience location, that your needs will be satisfied in that sense. Also in terms, Israel, also in terms of time saving, which is quite, with food-related things, a very crucial thing. And I think what makes a good location nowadays special is to give the people a good feeling. Of course, you give them a good feeling by adding the best trademarks together, right? That's the tenant mix at the one hand. But more and more, and that's why we also assure in our concepts ourselves on the ground, but also with our partners out there. What Romina already mentioned is about leisure, is about food and beverage, is about well, spending a good time as a meeting point. And that's the difference, not only having a coffee, but having a coffee together with friends. And that's where it becomes a meeting point. You can scale this from a very small supermarket up to a big shopping center. The thing is, but the idea behind is the same, or almost the same. Give the customer the good experience and give them the best experience in town. And then they will come again and again and again.
Okay, super. And that's a first very important key to make. Thomas, Romina said there is a certain kind of urbanity needed for sure to create these special places, which is a kind of challenge for the outlet centers, which are mainly located out of town. So they create their urbanity artificially, to name it like this. How do you see the future of, let's say, locations of outlet centers on the one hand? One part of the question. The second is, what are the key drivers from your point of view to make these locations a bit more vibrant, also from outlet center side?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the outlets, the well-managed outlets are quite attractive at the moment. Otherwise, you wouldn't bring people from 90 minutes drive time to the outlets already. So this is one of the topics. The other topic is tourism. So we cannot talk about tourism in length, but now tourism is back, we can say honestly. So we have, again, our tourists also in the different countries coming back. And when you're on holiday, a lot of people are visiting the centers. I think coming back, what I have said previously is it's very clear that you have to have this clear strategy of the outlet. You have your own brand, each brand, one store, attractive brand mix, and all that, which is, let's say, the basement of that, what the outlet offers for the reduced prices. The other topic is a permanent trading up. So means from the shop fit, from the look and feel in the center, from, let's say, the classic things like selfie points, where can you do your Instagram stories and all of that. And then in addition to that, people going to the outlet centers, if we're just on going to the outlet centers, in my case, the competition for us is leisure, is a spa, is doing a tour with an e-bike, is doing something else. Yeah, it's not just because there is a need to buy something. It's just a leisure activity. And when you do something which should be a good day out or a leisure activity, you want to have a kind of a wow effect. So you need to find new ways of approaching the customer, which surprises, which new stores, with some new offers, with specific offers, with flash sales, with permanent discount on very specific topics. And just came in my mind, I don't know who is aware of this former treasure truck from Amazon. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about at the moment. Is somebody aware of this treasure truck story? Treasure truck was something that Amazon put in place, I think 6-7 years ago. It was just a truck, and this truck was going from one place to the other. People had been on Amazon being made aware by WhatsApp or other social medias that the treasure truck is in town. And then people go there and they have no idea what is in the treasure truck. At the beginning, it was a very crazy ideas of TV screens for $2 or something like that. So really extreme offers. On the other hand, Bruce Springsteen was playing in a treasure truck. So there was people were coming to this treasure truck not even knowing what it is, because it was so attractive to bring something new with a wow effect to a location. And I think this is something we should take and bear in our mind. We need to give always a reason to visit and something new, or something which is clearly, this is the basis, but you have to have something in addition to that. And I think we sometimes think what we have done in the past was good enough, but it is not good enough anymore. If it's outlet, if it's shopping mall, whatever it is, if it's retail park, we have to think in the future, and we have to stick to the basics, but always try to invent something new. And we tried things like flash sales, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. We tried things like this treasure truck in a small way. Let's see if it's for the future something. But we have to keep the innovation going on and not complaining about what was better in the past. And I think this optimism and this proactive approach should also be something which is in our case very important also in the relationship with the investors. We will come to the point a little bit later, because we talk always about shopping malls. They want to have clear base rent structure and so on and so on. But we need to have this way forward thinking now. And I think this is maybe one of the outlets is a role model in a way, because we had always been a little bit different to the normal shopping center world.
Yeah, super. That sounds that you're a little bit independent from the location on the one hand, but you have to add, let's say, a perfect operation or to create the reason why people come to your store. So that means these kind of assets, what we are talking about, needs a huge, let's say, sounds like a huge workload of operation activities and let's say how to attract the people. Israel, retail parks are seldomly downtown, more or less outside. If you combine retail parks with an intensive operation, how does that sound in your ears?
Of course, outlet centers are a very different animal. We all know, and it has a very different management as well, related, of course. And I think it's it's an impressive business, but very different from maybe a retail park, where basically I think I agree about creating experience, but we should not forget about the fundamentals as well. Like, of course, the location. So consumers prefer a shopping location that is convenient, accessible, easy to park, fast checkout, also some sort of omni-channel related embracing where they can also have online ordering or home delivery. So there are a few factors that are related also, for example, of course, to the pricing. They also will choose their location based on the pricing and affordability. I think in that sense also outlet center create that sense of attractiveness by creating these promotions around this subsector. So I think it's a mixture of everything, but of course fundamentals are still there.
Sounds good. But if I try to combine all that stuff, that sounds like in an urban area with a food anchored asset combined with an outlet center or some other offers, ideally connected to the traffic, whatever it is the best location and asset. Wouldn't that be the case?
Oh, I think, there are a few cases, and I think Thomas was related to some of them. For example, the one in the Algarve, I think you mentioned. I think that those perform very well. That type of mix situation where you have retail park with a bit more, let's say, traditional offer and an outlet center that can combine together with a grocery anchor. I think it's a perfect match. Yeah.
Super.
Of course, you cannot have an outlet everywhere. That's also true.
That's for sure, and good to know that there's a kind of overlap also. At that stage, I would love to ask our audience if they want to raise questions. Please do so. I'm still waiting in the chat. You can write your question in the chat, and then we try to direct it to our panelists. I did something very, very modern. I asked ChatGPT with a question, and I asked ChatGPT, who are the winners in the retail real estate industry these days? And the answers are the following ones, and I would love to go through it with you if you allow. The very first one as an answer was mixed-use developments as an adaptive reuse of real estate. Is a winning format. Romina, if I may ask you firstly, what is your point of view on that?
Yes, of course. So also our work has really developed from being a retail consultant more to being a real estate consultant on how to mix all those usages in one place. So this is a definite yes, and mixed use is actually like another word for creating urbanity.
Is it something new or is it something old, which is in a new definition with new needs and new requests?
Well, it's actually something old. So the city wasn't always separated with the usages. They focus on it now, probably also as a necessity to like, how do you say, that you don't have the risk only in one asset class, but you have more asset classes. You also provide a mix, you provide urbanity. So it's not new per se, but the mix is new. So we're talking about maybe senior living in the mix, or like modern medical centers, which haven't been in the mix in the past, where it's more or less office and retail or something like that.
So we should not fear any longer about sizes or number of levels, because there is a kind of solution ongoing concerning mixed use, however it's defined.
And it's really important for the retail on the ground floor. If you have a multi-use building, you have ground floor retail, then it's very important who are the target groups who are living, working, doing whatever above these ground floor areas, that you provide the most suitable offers.
And if I may ask Angelus concerning these mixed-use projects, and we see the operation of a hypermarket store in that, a favorite in your expansion plan, or a kind of an add-on?
It's part of the expansion plan, but Klaus, may you allow me to say that I'm a bit astonished that artificial intelligence puts mixed use on the first row of, let's say, the new trends for retail in that sense. Perhaps you should ask ChatGPT what is meant by mixed use. And you added one thing which I'm pretty convinced that could be the case. Beside our, like Romina said, understanding of mixed use and vertical uses of many asset classes in that sense, I think one thing will be true across Europe, especially in the mature market, that the reuse and the repurpose, or as we say, perhaps revitalization of retail assets will be one of the key drivers of the future. The more it gets urban in our metropolis, I think the more aspects of real mixed-use assets will be combined. And the less it, or let's say, the more rural it gets, the more sense of revitalization or reuse of retail purpose will be in the forefront of that sense. Why do I say this? Our experience in the last 3 years is we opened more than 1,150 outlets across Europe the last approximately 3 years. That's about 1 million of retail space in that sense for food. And about more than 100 of them had been, to some extent, revitalizations. Klaus, also in mixed-use projects, so where the whole premises was transferred to a real mixed-use thing, but not from the total amount, it was about 5 to 10% max in that sense. But a revitalization towards a new food-anchored tenant mix, and that is true for retail parks, also for shopping centers we did, big hypermarkets subdivided into large to large supermarket as we are, and add specialty stores on it. I think that's for sure true in that sense. But generally, just to answer your question, we are also open for mixed use, and it's also a trend, like Romina said, for many years right now, and also coming from the requirements of the local authorities Europe-wide.
Okay, got it. And I have to give you the feedback that on number 3, grocery anchored stores and locations are also like part of the answer. So no worries, everything is on the right track. But funny-wise, number 2, and Thomas, that's maybe something for you, is the second answer has been experiential retailers. And number 4 was the e-commerce integration as a kind of an answer for these winning formats. Does that fit to your view?
Well, yeah, in a way, yes and no. During the pandemic, we've learned a lot about how we, as stationary or retailers that have really still the outlet centers and the shopping malls, how to cope with the online trade, and we have find new formats. But at the end, I think we now coming back to where we are at the moment. I think it's very important that you integrate all your digitalization and all that into your marketing, into your communication channels. But we as classical outlets, we can never compete with really online traders like Amazon or others, because we don't have the logistics, we don't have the products in our own hands. But I think overall, yes, there is a clear way forward that you have to be much more in the social medias, and the e-commerce becomes important. But for us, to be honest, there are some centers, in Europe. There are 1-2 centers who are really doing it. One is in Metzing, and the other one is the village in France. but it's a huge investment. And it's really not something which I think for the long run will be something where the outlet centers will really do e-commerce.
And also to explain it on the list of answers, outlet centers and outlet malls are already mentioned. So there are still
at the very end. I'm disappointed at the very end.
Not maybe at the very end, but there are some are beforehand. We've already received some questions from the audience, and it's a good one. I'd love to start with. The question was outlet centers and retail parks under one roof. That's maybe a question for Israel. Is this the future or a concept failure? I love this question. What's your point, Israel, on that question?
Sorry, Klaus, under the same roof?
Under one roof, outlet center and a retail park under one roof. Maybe in level 1 or level 2 or next to each other. One roof, one location, one plot. Would you invest in that? Maybe that's the better question.
I normally tend to think that anything that is under one roof is more a shopping center type of scheme, more than a retail park that offer a bit more open air. In that sense, again, the combination of outlet with the premium brands is something that I have seen that performs very well. And I think there's a few examples in Europe that show that combination of discount brands and premium can work together in certain cases. I would prefer, to be honest, to keep open air and not mix so much the two concepts, but yeah, why not? I mean, you have to be open to maybe I will invest in a bit more open that close, but that's my feeling.
Yeah, super. So if it's open air for sure, then it's a neighbor, so next to each other could be the case. So there's an openness for an investment that sounds good and positive. The second question, which guides, let's say, to the answer number 5, which is sustainability and green initiatives. That's also a very, very, very important part in our business and industry. And the question was, one question, because how could we concern about ESG trends, especially the social strategy was figured out. How do you see that in kind of retail parks, outlet centers? How would you, let's say, implement the social part of ESG into the assets? Israel, is it something you are focusing on?
Yeah, I think we put too much focus always on the E part of the ESG, which is logical as well, because yeah, technically you can maybe see solutions, and I think in general retail properties can offer great wide package of solutions. Could be from reducing energy consumption and waste, using renewable sources and materials, supporting, and I think that is an important part of the energy of the social, supporting communities that are in the surroundings of these assets. So I think, for me, it's something very important we should not forget also when managing retail properties.
And what kind of initiatives is Kaufland using concerning the social, the S in ESG, Angelus?
Yeah, in that sense, like Israel said, we should not only focus on E topics, but of course it was the first one. And honestly, in the first row, E has the most impact in terms of saving CO2. At the other hand, and it's measurable in that sense. The S in ESG, it's a different thing, and that makes it, on the one hand, more adaptive. On the other hand, you can measure it from case to case. So there's no one size fits all. What we as Kaufland do is, in that sense, you have to understand yourself, and we as an operator, not as a real estate guy, but we operate in real estate, right? You have to understand yourself as being part of the city landscape. So you interact with the people there and you're part of this city landscape. And that's why I have to adapt to the needs and perhaps also give a social, more social impact with the operations you do. And I give you some example to make it more clear in that sense. In Croatia, we just started a campaign where people could introduce or could make some suggestions about local graffitis on the walls of our real estate, just to be more an integrative part with the real estate of the town. In the Czech Republic, for instance, we offer just next to our supermarkets, but on our ground, so-called community gardens, where in a dense population where you don't have gardens, where sometimes they even don't have balconies, can use this space to come together as a community and to grow crops in that sense. But this has also a social impact in that sense. In Moldova, we just cooperated with local art schools to make, let's say, art projects in and on our real estate. And that makes it more, let's say, visible what the S in ESG could mean.
Yeah, super. Sounds good. And an additional, let's say, factor for people to travel to the locations and to have it in their mind for the next shopping area. Let's switch to the next answers from ChatGPT. It was really interesting to see, and maybe Romina, you can give us a little, let's say, point of view on from your side, which is then technology integration and locality. That sounds something different, but maybe it fits. How is your point on that as a winning format in the near future? Technology and locality.
So local retailers actually help, especially like smaller cities and municipalities, to create USPs. They help to differentiate. This is actually, for me, one of the key findings for the future, that when you're not local supply, you need to differentiate, you need to bring diversity or variety into your offer. And that is what locality can do, I think. And of course, technology integration as well as e-commerce or online presence is one of the key factors. So everybody has to have it. You can't really miss it. I think it's not something which is up for discussion. So yes, of course, I think these are two important trends. But maybe also about the other trends, I really agree with mixed use being the top one, but maybe the grocery anchors, I just want to point out that, of course, they are very successful. And I also think they will be very successful and winning formats, but not all. So the online share there is not high yet. In some countries, we see already the tendency. So there might be a risk. So I would remind everybody not to generalize and say every food anchor and every mixed use real estate is going to work out and be a winning format, but there might be some which will have problems. And I also think that there are a few grocery anchors, and we see also across Europe some reductions there. For example, Real in Germany, but also in other countries, Tesco and so on. So not all food anchors are probably among the winning formats.
If it would be that easy, then we don't need these across retail talks anymore. So therefore, we try to figure out this. Thanks for that, Thomas. I think you have something to add. If we talk about technology integration in a winning format and locality, what is your point of view on that?
But maybe before that, when we talk about people, I think this is the core trigger for all of us. Yeah, if you not have the right people and the right motivated people, if it's in the stores, in the centers, if it's in all the different positions, when we are lost. Yeah, I think we have started a couple years ago what is called employer branding, because the centers are outside of town, so we need to bring people to the center, co-workers to the center. We have to offer free buses, we have to offer other things, yeah, like taxis together and all of that. So which is necessary to have the right stuff there. Technology is one of these topics, and what we are a little bit, to be honest, a little bit struggling at the moment is, what will be the right channel for the future. There's so many channels now, how you can approach your customers, how you get in contact, how many touch points you have. Yeah, what is the message for the different, there are always key messages to bring the customers at the end to the location. But it becomes more and more difficult, to be honest. And there is, if somebody knows what is the right way for the future, how to deal with it, would be happy to hear it. At the moment, we are testing all the different channels, and I think most of us are doing this in a way. We get good and not so good feedback on the different channels, and we need to adopt our core message and have to be very clear in the communication, not to overwhelm our potential customers with every day a newsletter, every day something on the smartphone, in Instagram and on Facebook and here and there. So we need, I think, also be careful not to overload our potential or our customers with information and offers and all of that. And that is maybe different when you run supermarkets or products of daily need compared to shopping malls or outlet centers. But that's one of the big challenges we are facing, and I think there's no clear way or strategy. Everyone is testing it a little bit at the moment. Testing is doing it, but there's no clear path for me which I see this is the right way for the future.
Again, if it would be that easy, then we shouldn't follow up with that cross.
Sorry for having no better answer.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Israel, the next answer fits maybe to your view, because there's also health and wellness mentioned above outlet centers, by the way. So you mentioned at the beginning that you are in that part of the industry. How do you see a combination with the retail parks and health and wellness offers?
Sorry again. So I think it's something that I mentioned before. I can see already some examples, and you can see now in many of the retail parks the presence of some gym or health center, and I think it's retail parks can cater to the health and conscious and wellness oriented consumers need that type of offering. So I think it's something that also makes sense to add to the offering of retail properties.
Super. Thanks for that. It's unbelievable because we are 3 minutes before our closing time, so the time is flown away. So we have one last round, and before Christmas, I would love to ask you for your 3 wishes on your, let's say, Christmas list for next year, which you would love to share with the industry, or what you have on your bucket list, what you want to do to succeed and be, let's say, successful also in the near future. I would love to start with Angelus. What are your 3 major topics on your bucket Christmas wish list, whatever it is?
Well, if I may say 3 wishes in that sense, the thing is, I would wish that we will see a lot of new inspirations for many locations. I predict in some sense also for the next year, the beginning of a new cycle of retail and retail real estate, especially with regard to the potential and the opportunities in revitalizations. And that's where we are as a footfall anchor, to keep expanding and to keep expanding together with you, the players in the retail real estate industry. Right. Super.
Let's try to follow up. Thanks for that. Thomas, your 3 points on your wish list or on your bucket list.
Well, the first is customer centricity. I think we, in the last couple of years, pandemic, now inflation and so on, we lost a little bit. I have the feeling we lose the most important thing in our business, that is customer centricity. All we do is we do it for the customers. We don't do it first for the investors or for this or for that. We do it for the customers. So customer centricity is the first thing. The second thing is, I think we should go back a little bit more to keep things simple, clear, with a clear USP, clear and simple concepts, not to try to please everybody. And the third, and I think the most important thing is, for me, we have to refocus on people, on our co-workers, on our team members. They are at the end contributing and delivering the results that we all want to have. We have to refocus, and it's not just money, it's also personal development. It's challenging, but it's also supporting people, that they get a working place where they feel comfortable and they feel safe, and they have also the opportunity to develop themselves.
Super, thanks for that. Israel, your 3 points on the wish list you would love to share with us?
Yeah, I think flexibility. We comment on that at the beginning. I think we have to be prepared to diversify and innovate retail offering and formats. Second, I think embrace digital transformation. So we also mentioned about data and how important using the data to create that customer experience is nowadays. And final, I think also we mentioned a lot about adopting ESG and sustainability practices. Is something that is going to be very important for all of us.
Super, thanks for that. Romina, you have started. You have the last words in that discussion. Your 3 points on your bucket list?
Oh, I feel honored. No, as I said before, I think it's important not to generalize things. Of course, as a location consultant, I have to say everything depends on the location because it defines who is your target group, who are your customers in the catchment area. And this is something which is very important to see, not only purchasing power and age, but like what do they really need? So it's never a copy paste and everything needs to be created individually. And so we bring more variety to the real estate landscape also.
Thanks for that. My lists are all the best for you. Stay healthy and be successful also in future. And now back to Reinhard. Thanks for listening to that Cross Retail Talk. Reinhard, you are unmuted. Reinhard?
Sorry for that. Yeah. Many thanks from my side. It was extremely exciting, informative, and also entertaining. And yes, it's also great input for our editorial work. And as mentioned at the beginning, we will work out a summary. We will present it tomorrow on website and also via our newsletter. Many thanks to you, the panelists, and yeah, many thanks for all people watching this Across Retail Talk. And we hope to see you again as soon as possible in one of our next retail talks. So all the best and goodbye. Greetings from Vienna. See you.
Bye. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Stay safe.